Hi and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about how I manage my photos. When I import my photos into Lightroom, the first thing I do is I sort them. And I'm going to show you how I go through all my photos and I sort them from the massive amount of photos that I've taken down to a manageable amount of photos that I will keep. So come along and enjoy this adventure. So I think one of the issues that a lot of people that are into wildlife photography have is they take hundreds of pictures and then they want to edit them down to a manageable number of photos. So I have 14 images here that I am going to show you how I rate and then how I mark for deletion, delete these photos, and this way here that I have the best photos that I have taken without having to keep a lot of extra junk. So this is pretty down and dirty. If you hit the shift key and then either X, which will be rejection, or 1 through 5 will mark these photos in that category. So like this first photo, I'm going to give it a rating of a 4. So if I hit shift 4, that moves to the next photo. I'm going to zoom in here by just clicking on the image with my mouse. And I'm going to give this photo an X. That means I'm rejecting it. I'm rejecting this photo. I'm going to give this photo a 3. I'm going to reject this photo, reject the photo, reject this photo. Now, I reject a lot of photos. I'm really harsh on myself when it comes to these kinds of photos because I don't want to keep photos that I'm not going to delete, but I got to be very conscious about not deleting decent photos. I'm going to give this a rating of 3. I'm going to give this one 5, just so I can have one that's a 5. This one's a rejection. This is a scissor-tail flycatcher that we photographed in North Carolina, which is a very rare visitor in North Carolina. There's actually 2 of them. This image here, you can see that little bit of red. That means it's blown out there. I'm going to reject this photo. I'm going to give this photo a 4 just because. I'm going to reject that photo because it's out of focus. There's camera movement in there. I really couldn't get that close to this bird. We were probably 150 yards away from it, which is way too far to be able to take pictures of it. I'm rejecting this photo. So now that I have all these photos selected and each one ranked, now what I want to do is mark photos for deletion. So all the photos that I've rejected or hit Shift X, I can simply delete those by hitting Control Backspace. And it will show all the pictures here. And if I hit this delete from disk, it will delete the images from my disk. So they'll be permanently deleted in a Windows machine that will be moved to a the waste basket in your thing. So the other way we can do this is we go down here to where it says filter off, and if we hit flag, we can select the reject flag. We also can go here and select ratings. So let's say I had 100 pictures here, and I'm going to select everything with 4 or greater. So you see all the pictures that are 4 or greater. Let's say I decided that I didn't want to keep any of my 3s. If I hit next to these stars here, and if I select right here, it can say rating is equal to. And what that does is show me all the 3s. I can just hit Control Select and then right click on it and then remove, and I have the same option to delete these photos. That's a great way for you to really thin down your photos and bring them down to a manageable number of photos. And I think this is one thing that a lot of bird photographers don't do. The other thing that I think a lot of bird photographers don't do is go back and look at their photos. As a matter of fact, I'm in a very long, involved process of going through old photos and deleting them because I have this huge catalog, and which I really like working in one catalog because then I can go back to pictures in the past. The problem that you run into is that if you have a huge amount of photos, there are a huge amount of them that you're never going to look at again or never use. So I've been going through those photos and deleting them. And this has been making room for my stuff. It's been making my backups a little bit more efficient. All this will just make me a better photographer. So anyways, that's a really down and dirty method that I use to sort my photos. I don't get hung up on using colors or anything like that. That's all I do is I rate them 3, 4, or 5, or I reject them. And when I do reject the photos, generally speaking, they're for cause. They're out of focus. The bird's head's behind itself. There's a big branch in the way. I photographed my foot. You know, photos that I'm never ever going to use and I instantly see these. Those are deleted. That doesn't mean the other photos I'm not going to reject. If I have 500 pictures and I edit them down to, in this situation, let's say I took 500 pictures and I edited those or rejected them down to 100 photos. And it was simply of 3 birds, the yellow leg and the scissor-tail flycatcher and this yellow leg here. I would probably edit those photos down and just keep the very best images. And I think this is one thing as photographers we get kind of hung up on. I took this picture, worked so hard to get this picture, and it's not that great of a picture, but I did so much to get there. You got to kind of let your emotions go in this situation. The other side of the coin too is that you can always go back later and delete these photos too. So if you decide that I'm not sure about that picture, give it a rating of a 3, keep the picture, and then go back in 6 months to a year, look at it again. And if you decide that at that point you don't want to keep it, you can, or you can keep it. So anyways, I'm hoping this gave you some useful information. If it did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel because that really helps us in the YouTube world. Become a Patreon supporter. Your support allows us to keep doing this. My name is Sean Leahy, and I want to thank you for watching.